Now you see all sparklies over here?
The whole bucket.
Again, this is what I always go back to. A baby's job is to react to stimuli. That's it. And by the way, right here, what I'm doing here, I've had a lot of questions lately. What is vestibular? Vestibular is how the whole system, in my mind, reacts to balance and counterbalance. Oh, we're gonna suck my hand instead, huh? What she's doing, and if you notice too, she started more here, her bum's slowly going over a little bit. But when I counter this, that, and the other, just again, notice she doesn't go into any kind of startle. Her feet automatically kind of counter to it. It's just like rocking a boat, but see, this is a pre-crawl. See how she goes, if I counter her head to the one side, the other opposing foot goes, and the same thing, see? She stabilizes. A child, again, she's only 5.5 months old, but this should just be a real natural little thing. Do you see it? How the head comes over this way, the opposing foot's going. So she's doing a counterbalance. So in other words, her balance is going through her system, through the bum, and transferring over. This happens from the first glance a baby makes. When a baby just reacts and looks a little bit to the right in a newborn, and this is what I'm going to be doing with your baby, the opposing foot, we should start to counter. And this is one of the most, I think, important developments in a child that gets totally overlooked. Because this is walking. See this? This is walking. Boom, boom, boom. She's just pre-crawl walking. So even if you just play this little bit with your baby, and again, I'm not doing it fast. I'm allowing her system to counter because she's a baby. She does not have a fast acceleration in her system. That's why she's not up and running the 50-yard dash just yet. She's just hanging out. But again, she's played the whole time. She's not startling, she's not fussing, she's not... And this is the biggest problem you see with people going into tummy time and the baby starts screaming. Because that whole system that I just described is not organized at all in their system. So the head goes down, and any kind of reaction to movement, since there's no counterbalance, the vestibular is completely off. So you see it more so obviously with CP, and hopefully that's what I'll be able to show you in the baby that's coming in a second.
So it's like, alright, call me a bad mom, but she's not getting 20 minutes of tummy time every day, because she's not doing anything. What's the point?
Well, in her case too, you really saw it, because that's when she got her first lesson was at 2.5 months old, and you were like, oh my God, she's on her tummy. But you can see my conversations prior to that her pelvis was just way too rigid. And once her pelvis started to move again, then the vestibular system was kicking in better so it could go through. So I can take her whole hip and twist the hip now. See how the back nicely arches or rounds. This is where, like when I work on you and I say, notice this is your bum looking for the car seat, for the car, you know, the seat of the car. Bring in an adult. But what's nice about working on the babies, see how I can arch? Also notice, I've done this on you, Claudia, how nicely her foot now is becoming behind the pelvis as forward. And see, again, her vestibular is in a really good shape right now. Her head's not... And in other words, what I'm doing with the leg is like completely separate from her head. You see that? Because her balance is so nicely in between the system. So I can do the same thing here, taking her knee. I have my finger right into the bottom of her sit bone, top of the pelvis, and rotate her knee. See now what's changing? How much nicer the extension was to go after the object. You got loot now.
Get you going. She's so out of there.
See how much nicer now the head's coming up from even just last week?
We can't go anywhere without somebody being like, wow, that baby's really with it. She's looking at everything. And I was like,